High-key, she has issues. The biggest plot twist in Throne of Pages history. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Bella, and I constantly like to put myself in situations where I test the limits of my mental health. Yes, for this video I'm going to be doing yet another reading challenge. I do love me a good reading challenge, and it's always a good way to just encourage myself to read more books or to just like jump out of my comfort zone. And for this reading challenge, you may have already read the title of this video. I'm going to be reading the lowest rated book on my Goodreads TBR shelf and the highest rated. I do already know what the books are because I am a Capricorn and I must at all times be prepared for every single thing. So why don't we introduce the books that I'm going to be reading for this video. And I also thought it would be fun to read a few reviews that people have left of these books just to sort of get an idea of what I'm getting into. The lowest rated book on my Goodreads shelf is Nobody, Somebody, Anybody, written by Kelly McLaury. I initially heard of this book through a friend's recommendation because she said that it was very similar to Otessa Mossveg's My Year of Rest and Relaxation. Even though that book was a 3.5, I still have like this weird attachment to that book because I didn't necessarily enjoy it, but it was so fun to read about this character that I just absolutely hated and that had zero redeeming qualities. And ever since I read that book, I've been so interested in reading books that have a similar vibe to it. So when my friend said that this had similar vibes, I immediately added it to my TBR, not knowing that it was going to be the lowest rated book on my TBR shelf. Out of 1,297 ratings, this has an average rating of 3.17 stars. Some of the reviews that I've compiled sort of gave me an idea that there is little to nothing to love about this book. It also feels a little bit plotless. It's definitely character driven. None of the characters are likable. Our narrator especially, apparently she is hated by everybody and she has, again, zero redeeming qualities, which apparently is something that I enjoy reading about. So maybe the things that people hated about this book are actually the things that are going to make me love this book. Hey, who knows? Maybe this is going to be the underdog of this video. I wish this book had been as interesting as the cover. I mean, I will give it to that person. This cover is really interesting and I like the little details of it looking like an old painting. I don't know if you can see like cracks around the design. I really like this cover, so hopefully I like the story inside even more, or like equally as much as the cover. This is a book to read if you desperately need to feel better about yourself, because no matter how pathetic you may think you are, at least you're not this girl. Okay, she is not pulling her punches. That she came for this character's throat. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't even know this character, but she's going through so much. Everyone in this book was so goddamn unlikable. Don't ask why, but the word that comes to mind is crusty. I mean, with those raving reviews, I can't be anything but excited to get into this book. So apparently we're following this character that's called Amy, and she has a job as a maid for the summer. But on August 25th, she will take the exam to become an EMT. But as the date for the EMT exam draws closer, Amy's anxiety ratchets up in a way that is both familiar and troubling. Even though this does have an obscene amount of negative reviews, it low-key makes me even more excited to pick this one up and just see why these people are so incensed by this book. Like, why do they hate it so much? I must understand, and I need to see if I'll feel the same way. So this is our first book, the lowest rated on my Goodreads to be read shelf. In terms of the highest rated book on my TBR shelf, a lot of you are going to be very happy at this turn of events. I did not see this coming, but honestly, with the huge following that this book and this series and this author has, it honestly wasn't that surprising. With nearly 15,000 ratings on Goodreads and an average rating of 4.67, the highest rated book on my Goodreads in this moment in time is Heaven Official's Blessing. Once again, a very, very gorgeous cover. We cannot deny that. Like, oh my goodness, look at this. A lot of people have been excited for me to read this book ever since I read Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. I didn't really vibe with that because I think there's just a problem with the translation, in the sense that the way that it was translated, like, some of it just came off really wonky, some dialogue is very awkward, and some people did mention that if I did not like Grandmaster, I was probably not going to like Heaven Official's Blessing. But nevertheless, I'm still pretty hopeful. I'm keeping an open mind, and hopefully the translation is maybe not as bad as Grandmaster. Fingers crossed. 5 out of 5 stars. Amazing, spectacular, magnificent, show-stopping, marvelous. So did you like this book? Or like, that wasn't very clear to me. The published translation is crap. Okay, see, this was my fear, because I think that the majority of the 5 stars come from the unofficial translation that is free online. And then when this official translation came out, people just started rating it on Goodreads. But then so many of the reviews that I saw were talking about how bad the official translation is. But since they read the original, or like the unofficial one, they still gave it 5 stars. So I don't know if like the rating is rigged because of this, but alas, we carry on. Another horrendous translation. The only reason this gets 2 stars is because I can see the vague shape of a good story behind the awful English prose. This is what I was afraid of. Okay. If you've never heard of Heaven Official's Blessing, this is a fantasy boy love story. We're dealing with gods, we're dealing with ghosts. Apparently there's a crown prince of a prosperous kingdom who's renowned for his beauty, strength, and purity. I mean, this does have some stunning illustrations inside the book, so that makes me excited to read it, because maybe I'll enjoy those. It just looks so wholesome, you know what I mean? So hopefully I can at least enjoy. Ooh, okay, we're getting a little bit of action. Interesting. These are the 2 books that I'm going to be reading for this reading challenge, the lowest rated and the highest rated books on my Goodreads shelf. Leave down below how you think this challenge is going to go. Do you think I'm actually going to enjoy this one more than I will this one? Do we think that this one could possibly be a 4 star, even though I did give Grandmaster 2 stars? And is this one, the underdog, going to come up as a winner? So without further ado, let's just get this challenge started. I think I'm going to start with this one first, because I'm just so intrigued by all the hate that this book is receiving. So without further ado, let's dive right into this bad boy, or bad girl, or toxic girl, or unhinged girly. Yes. It's a little later in the day. I've been reading Nobody, Somebody, Anybody. The title still does not make sense to me, but I feel like it'll come soon enough. I already have a couple of tabs. I have matched like the tabs to the color scheme of the cover, and you know, it's just giving me so much serotonin. It's the little things in life, truly. But anyways, I have read the first 100 pages of this book, and I have to say it, I am fascinated by this story. I think the writing is just the right amount of dry, but also sort of witty, and it does such a good job of explaining our main character, like explaining her personality and her quirks and her thought process. Like the way that her mind works is so mind-boggling because it makes absolutely no sense. It almost sounds, or it almost feels as if she is brainwashing herself into being normal. I don't know, like she has some quirks that are just very questionable, and there are some beliefs or some opinions and thoughts that she has that are very worrisome. Like she's definitely struggling with something. It hasn't been named, it hasn't been really explained, but the way that her brain processes things and the way that she I don't know, the way that she just goes on with her life, it's very weird to me. So basically, we're following our main character, Amy, and it's currently summer for her. She has this summer job cleaning hotel rooms. I totally see Amy on like the clean side of TikTok, like those TikTokers that do reels or videos about just like deep cleaning every single room of your house and like cleaning tips and things like that. I just see Amy being one of those people because she is obsessed with cleaning. She even talks about cleaning up the dirt as becoming one with the dirt particles in the air, and it's just like I really don't understand how her mind works, but because I don't understand it and because it's so different from any other character that I've ever read about, it's so fascinating. As she's working on this summer job, she's also studying for the EMT exam, and she has a very unhealthy, just like overall, she's very unhealthy. That's the bottom line. High key, she has issues. High key, she has some very toxic habits that are just not good for her. But yes, she's studying for this exam, and the thing is that she really struggles when she's being tested. She knows all the answers, she has this very deep knowledge about medicine, but when the exam time comes, she always fails and she doesn't know why. And because of this, she decides to do this sort of placebo exercise where she pretends that she has already passed the exam. She writes her own acceptance letter, and she like takes the signature of the director and she like puts the paper on the computer and she traces it, and then she puts it in the mail and she sends it to herself, and when she receives it, she's like, oh my god, I got in. She also makes like her own ID card. She is basically building herself this delusion, and she actually talks about that because she says, it might not be common practice to placebo oneself, but why not try? Weren't we all doing it to some extent every day anyway? Telling ourselves mind over matter, think positively, visualize, manifest, fake it till you make it. Delusion was an accepted part of life, so why not take a more formalized clinical approach? I think that's when it really clicked to me that this woman was like the definition of Delulu. She is a Delulu icon, and honestly, it is so fun to read about. Like just seeing the lengths that she would go to trick herself into believing this fantasy that she's created, and the way that she keeps telling other people that she passed the EMT exam, even though it's like 4 weeks away. She hasn't been studying. I think like she's more focused on creating evidence for this fantasy than she is in studying for the exam. And seeing her just building up this new life, pretending to be someone that she's not, is again so fascinating. And honestly, I feel like I read these first 100 pages so fast. It was really easy to lose myself in this story, and when I started, I kind of didn't want to put it down, so I didn't. And because of that, I reached page 100 pretty quickly. There's a few things that are mentioned but that aren't explained, and I think that it's sort of just laying the ground for future problems that are going to arise, because our main character Amy, she does have a father and a brother, but she's sort of estranged from them. She's always mentioning how she's distanced herself from her family because she wants to not ruin them with her own toxicity. This had always made me feel guilty, but also more certain of my obligation to protect them from what they didn't understand, that it would be much worse to have me around. I told myself I would rejoin their lives just as soon as I could trust myself not to destroy them. It makes me so excited to keep on reading just so that I can understand why she thinks she is so detrimental to the people around her. She also lives a very secluded existence. Like, from her work, she goes directly back home. She doesn't really have anyone that she can talk to. She also talks about how sometimes she forgets how to exist. You know, like she has to watch other people to remind herself how to walk and like how to be a normal person. And I also found that very, very interesting because there are times as well where she's sort of just disassociating and sort of losing her grasp on reality, which again, I just think it's very fascinating to read about. I should definitely look for like some synonyms of fascinating because I feel like I've used that word so many times already. Then I'd lurk at the window and try to study their comings and goings, what they said, how they moved, in the hope that if I could learn to imitate them, they might mistake me for one of their own. There's just something about that. It's just wow. 100 pages in, and as you guys can see, I am definitely enjoying this book. I think I'm actually enjoying it a little bit more than I did my Year of Rest and Relaxation because the main character in that one, she is very stuck up. She is in a very high position of power and privilege, and she doesn't really acknowledge that, and that just irks me in the worst way possible. Like, she is just so full of herself. It's kind of hard to read from her perspective at times because I'm like, man, you are so unrelatable. Oh my goodness. But this one, she's a little bit more down to earth. Yes, at times she does have a few habits and a few actions that she does or things that she says or things that makes you worry for her well-being, but she's definitely a lot more relatable and a lot more realistic than the main character in my Year of Rest and Relaxation. So I'm excited to continue. I don't know if I'll finish this book today because this does have 292 pages. That's it for this little check-in corner. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, this is very random. I'm so sorry, but why? It's sort of like caving in. This is the first time that I ever burned the candle, and it's literally just, there is a hole now, and it's pretty much about to like burn out. Well, that's insane. Yeah, I'm disappointed. Literally, Zuko's honor is on the line, and this is wow. It doesn't even have a smell. Like, that's how bad it is. Goodbye. It is currently 6:37. I honestly... Focus? Okay. I honestly have no idea when I started this, but I finished it. It's still the same day. I literally filmed a couple of hours ago, maybe like an hour and a half ago. I don't know, but I honestly don't know what possessed me to read this book as fast as I did, but it kind of just happened. I just sat down with this bad boy and read it in one sitting. Still a little bit upset about what happened with my candle because I really wanted to just, you know, spend some time with Zuko, but apparently that's just not in the cards for me today.
That's rough, buddy.
But anyways, this happened. I finished Nobody, Somebody, Anybody. The title honestly does not make sense to me. Like, I don't know why it's called like this, but let's just pretend that we understand. I have already talked about this. I did mention this, but the lengths that our main character goes to rationalize her unreasonable actions and the way that she twists reality in order to fit her delusions and her fantasies is so fascinating to read. I'm kind of glad that I read those 1-star reviews before I read this book because it gave me a clear image of what I was getting into. There's literally zero plot. I mean, there is sort of like a plot in here, but honestly, even that goes off the rails. It doesn't really lead up to anything. It's really just a story about Amy and how far she's willing to go to feed her own fantasies, and how that's just detrimental to her and everybody around her, how she's just constantly poisoning everywhere or everything that she touches. It's not that she's a bad person, it's just that she never really learned how to maybe lead a healthy lifestyle. Like, she has this really complicated relationship with her mom that she never really got to deal with because she died. So she has like that, you know, grief to work on, and then she also has like just anger issues as well. Sometimes she kind of snaps and she has these very violent fantasies of hurting people and just setting things on fire, and it's like, it's very out of pocket sometimes. This Amy character, she's been through a lot, but I wouldn't say that she's a bad person. I just feel really, really bad for her. Honestly, like, this woman is at a dead end in her life and she doesn't know how to do a U-turn. It's really sad to just see this woman just lose it. Honestly, literally, it's just about a woman who is very unhinged. She has grown so skilled at pretending to be fine that people think this is just normal. But then when she starts to show her true self, people are like, ma'am, are you okay? I have unexpectedly finished the lowest rated book on my Goodreads shelf on the first day of this challenge. I didn't know this was going to move on so fast, so quickly, but hey, I'm not complaining. In terms of rating, what are we feeling? I don't know. Like, it's definitely, you know, a 3-star or a 3.5, because it was so easy to read. It was, I think, like, in a sense, it was fast-paced because I finished it so quickly, but at the same time, nothing happens. Like, there is nothing that you can pace out because it's just this woman and her struggles with mental health and mental illness that are never really talked about. They're never really like openly addressed. I don't know if that was like a conscious decision that the author decided to go for, but you know, she never really talks about having mental issues. She just says these are things that she does. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, like that ignorance of how mental health plays a part in her personality and just the way that she is. I really enjoyed the writing. And even though I do agree with that one review that said the characters are very unlikable, like there's nothing to like about these people. And also as well, I feel like you don't really get to know the other characters besides Amy. It's very superficial. There's really not much that we know about the side characters. It's really only focused on Amy and her descent into unhingedness. I mean, I do see where the reviews are coming from, but also I feel like most of the reviews came from people that didn't know what to expect when they went into this book. They were expecting, you know, a book with a little bit more of a plot, a little bit more of direction in terms of what was going to happen, but it really is just like this look into this woman's mind and just her sweet descent into loneliness and, you know, the effects of grief and her hyper focus on things that don't actually matter. I guess I can understand where the bad reviews come from, but also I think it's a pretty okay book. I'd have to get to know you before I would recommend this book to you, because I feel like it's only a certain group of people that would enjoy this type of book. But if you do love a Tessa Mossfag, I feel like you would enjoy this book. Maybe it helps that I had such low expectations, so the fact that this is just like basically good, it surprised me, so maybe that's why I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But anyways, I will give myself one day to think about my rating, and hopefully tomorrow I'll come back with an answer for you guys. Now that I've read the lowest rated book on my Goodreads, I guess it's time to switch to the highest rated book, which is all the way over there. I am way too lazy to go look for it, but you guys know, it's Heaven Official's blessing. I feel like I've read enough for today. You know, I don't need to read more, I'm okay. So let's go watch some anime. nobody panic. This is fine. This is okay. I have started Heaven Official's Blessing, and okay, I don't want to alarm anyone. I read the first 142 pages in one sitting. I don't know how this happened. I really don't. I was so ready to not like this book. I was coming into it very scared because I have my own experience with Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, which is another series from the same author, and I was just scared that the writing was going to be the same, that I was going to be annoyed by the same elements that I found annoying in the first series. I was just scared out of my mind. I was like, this is going to be so bad. I can't believe I have to read this for a video. And then turns out, this is like the plot twist of the century, the biggest plot twist in Throne of Pages history. I am loving this book. No, like I literally cannot put it down for the first 154 pages, which is 4 chapters. So I made it to chapter 5. Oh my goodness, my dude. I don't like this. I literally feel so shocked. I have been bamboozled. I have never been happier to be this wrong about a book in my life. I'm just loving every single page. I feel like the story is so interesting, the characters are so fun, and the banter is funny. It's not cringe at all. Like the way that I felt in Grandmaster, it's not how I'm feeling about this book at all, and I am so relieved because I'm actually enjoying the story so freaking much. It's even kind of hard for me to put the book down. Like I literally stopped reading just so that I could film this, what's this word, this update? Yes, I stopped reading just because I had to film this update, but honestly, if it weren't for you guys, I would have probably just kept on reading. And I mean, after I finish filming this, I'm probably going to go back to reading because I'm just really vibing with this story and with these characters. And I just realized my rings are missing. Oh no. In all of my excitement, I forgot to put on my armor. The point is, Heaven Official's Blessing has taken over all of my waking hours. I think I'm even going to dedicate a few of my sleeping hours to Heaven Official's Blessing because I'm just having so much fun. I don't think I can go to sleep without knowing how the story ends. Maybe I'll even finish it before the night, but I do have some things that I have to do. Like, yes, I do have a life outside of reading, unfortunately. How do I explain this in the simplest of terms? We are following, okay, in this world, so in this world, gods exist. And if you do a worthy enough thing, you get the chance to ascend as a god. Our main character, Xie Lian, is famous for having ascended 3 times. And that means that he's been kicked out twice. Everybody low-key hates him because he's just become the laughing stock of the gods. And he doesn't really have any followers. Nobody really believes in him or prays to him because he's known as the god of misfortune. And nobody really wants to pray to him because they're like, oh, I'm going to get hit by lightning or something. Like, I'm going to get some really bad luck if I associate with this god. And Xie Lian, he just kind of takes it all in stride. He's like, yeah, you know, I've had a couple of misfortunes in my life, but it's all good. So a lot of the gods are angry with him because they're like, you ruined my castle, you almost, oh, se fue la luz. Not that, that is, bueno, se fue la luz. Guess we just have to wait for the okay, there we go. That has never happened on camera, but yes, welcome to the Dominican Republic. But anyways, I feel like I'm taking way too long to explain what this book is about, but basically we're following our main character, Xie Lian. He has made some gods angry, and in order to atone for his mistakes or his wrongdoings, he is sent down to Earth to do some missions. You know, there's like some ghosts or like some monsters that are just wreaking havoc on the people. So he gets sent down, and through these missions, he meets someone. Yes, he meets a mysterious man. This is the mysterious man, this one right here. Yeah, we love him. Okay, we love him. I need more from him, and I'm hoping to get a lot more from him in the pages to come. I'm hoping that this is him because this just looks very cozy and I need these characters to be cozy with each other. I just need this to happen. I need this to be a thing. If I haven't said it enough, I'm just so surprised that I'm actually loving this book. Like 142 pages in, and I'm thinking that this feels like a 4-star, which is insanity to me because I was struggling so much with the other author's work. I just really thought that I was never going to get comfortable with the writing or like the translation style. But oh my goodness, it's like this is written by somebody else because it just feels so much better. It feels so much more cohesive. I'm just so excited to see where the story is going to go. I'm so excited to meet new characters. I'm so excited to see how the relationship is going to develop. Like, I am such a fangirl for this series already, and I'm only 150 pages into the first volume. I don't know if this is going to become my newest obsession, but if it does, I'm so happy. The only person, or like the only thing I'm sad about is the fact that my bank account is going to suffer because I think this is like 8 volumes long. When I planned out 2023, I wasn't really planning on investing on collecting a whole new series, but there we go. Sometimes we just have to adapt to the changes that 2023 creates. This has, oh, look at him. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how all of these illustrations fit into the story. Oh my goodness, like hello, we have some girl action. I'm missing more than 200 pages to finish this, but I really think I could finish it today. I do have a couple of things that I need to do, like edit some videos, answer some emails, do some Patreon things, but I feel like I cannot go to sleep without knowing how this book ends. That's just the way that things are right now. So I'm really going to try my hardest to read as much as I can of Heaven Official's Blessing, and I will definitely come back to you guys with some updates because, oh my goodness, enough talking. I need to go back to reading. Bye-bye. Welcome to my room. Listen, it has been a day. I honestly could not stop thinking about Heaven Official's Blessing. I really tried my hardest to finish it that day being yesterday, but I just couldn't. It was like 2 a.m. and I was trying to read in bed, and the story was so good. Wait, let me hold it up. The story was so good. I wish I could have read for 1,000 years, but my eyes were just not, they were not complying with my wishes. So I did have to go to bed, but as soon as I woke up, oh my goodness, my dude, I picked up this book and I devoured the last 100 pages. I can't get over how good this book was. I'm literally gobsmacked. I am so flabbergasted by this turn of events. I loved Heaven Official's Blessing. I loved all of the different twists and turns. It was so fun. I loved the characters. I can't get over how good these characters are and how good the banter is. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Let us take a quick look at my Amazon cart. There's just no stopping this new obsession, and I don't want it to stop. I'm literally having so much fun, and I think it helps that I'm also in such a big fantasy romance mood, and this just scratches that itch to perfection. I'm so shocked at this turn of events that I can't really think of anything else to say apart from the fact that this is I don't know. Like, this is either a 4 or a 4.5 star, which is insane to me, but also like the rating makes so much sense. I think it also helped that my expectations were extremely low, because when I first read Grandmaster, I had some expectations, especially because so many people had told me that I was going to love it. But then coming into Heaven Official's Blessing, I had more people telling me that it's probably not going to be my cup of tea. And you know, I can still read it and maybe I'll have fun, but like don't keep my hopes up. And I think that helped in me enjoying this book as much as I did, because it was just so good. It felt like I was in this world. It felt like I was fighting these demons alongside these characters, and it was just such a rush to read this story. I love it so much. I'm so excited to collect all of the other volumes that are currently out. I think volume 6 is coming out soon, so you best believe I'm also going to be getting that one. This book gave me so much serotonin, and it reminded me why I love reading so much. And I don't know, like, it was just so good, so fun, such a good time. I loved it. Yep, that's it. That's all I want to say. I loved it. Since I read my highest and my lowest rated books on Goodreads, that officially brings this challenge to an end. This is honestly one of the most shocking reading challenges that I've ever done. I'm literally never going to get over this Heaven Official's Blessing plot twist. Like, wow, I'm just still in shock. But anyways, this reading challenge has officially come to a close. I feel like we had a pretty successful reading challenge. This one, I think I'm going to stick with a 3-star rating. And you know, that goes on par with the average rating that this book has on Goodreads, and I'm pretty happy with it. I wasn't completely obsessed over it, but it did have some interesting writing style, and I did enjoy the unraveling of our main character Amy. So I think it was still a good time, but I can definitely see where the bad ratings come from. And then Heaven Official's Blessing, I'm going to be giving it 4 out of 5 stars, which is just insane to me in the best way possible. Thank you to everyone who pushed me to read this book. Even though I didn't enjoy Grandmaster, you've literally saved my life. You've given me so much serotonin, and I'm so excited to continue on with this series. Oh my goodness, I'm just so excited. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this reading challenge. If you have any other challenges that you would like to see me try out, please leave them down below. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It really helps my channel out, and it gives me motivation to keep on going, so I would really appreciate it. I also have a Patreon where I post exclusive content. I host reading sprints and readathons and a monthly book club, so if that's something that you'd be interested in, the link is down below as always. Once again, I love you guys so very much, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Hey Jimmy, you nice, keep going.